Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we are checking out a Yarok Zombies, well, you know, Zombies, Field of the Dead list. And it is a Sultai list designed to do lots of Field of the Dead stuff without using Scapeshift. So you'll see no Scapeshift in the 75, and you'll see a bit of the elementals with Cavalier Thorns, Yarok, and Risen Reef. But for the most part, what we're doing is playing more of a value game with Field of the Dead, making 2 zombies at a time because of Yarok, and cranking them out little by little to attrition the opponent to death. The mana base is huge and contains all kinds of different lands to make Field of the Dead work. Some notable lands would be the Blast Zone, the Field of Ruin, cards like Thornwood Falls that gain a little bit of life, and Temple of Mystery that do some scrying, so the tiniest little bits of value along the way. We also have a Tamiyo and a Jace, and the idea here is to completely self-mill ourselves and win that way. Because we can't get Planeswalkers back if they end up in the graveyard with from various sources, what we have as kind of a trick is the Cavalier of Thorns. So if we mill ourselves with Cavalier of Thorns and then cast down our own Cavalier of Thorns, we can put the Jace back on top of the library and then finish the game. So that might come up sometimes if the game gets really crazy. We use Thought Erasure to try to disrupt the opponent a little, Legion's End to keep from dying, Assassin's Trophy to keep from dying. Credit to the deck's original creator, Jeff Hoogland, a fellow writer on CoolStuffInc.com. And this is a best of 3 deck with Nexus of Fate in the spot of the Jace. So if you want to play this in best of 3, put a Nexus in here instead of the Jace and take all the turns. It's a fun value deck and a different take on the Scapeshift archetype, going completely without Scapeshift, and showing that Yarok and Field of the Dead can be plenty competitive on their own. It's close to the last day of ranked, so we'll go play some ranked. I'm definitely deep in percentage gamer, way too much jank this season, and I don't know if we'll make top 1,000, but we'll give it a show. If we get close to it, maybe we'll push for it. All right, let's go give it a shot. Deep in the percentage gamers. Will we get out of it this season? I'll keep it. 2 Yaroks isn't very ideal, but a cast down can help us survive. Let's use a Scryland first, I think. Although if I play this, I guess I can have 2 mana next turn if I want with the forest. Scrylands and Shocklands. It's going to be awkward, friends. I'll keep the ramp card. I'm not going to complain much about a ramp card. Is that a Runaway Steamkin? It's a Marauding Raptor. Well, from what I know about Marauding Raptor, it must die. Nothing good ever comes from letting a Marauding Raptor live. Ever. Mono Red Raptor. Interesting. Now, before you say Rampaging Frostodon. Rampaging Frostodon was unbanned, but only in best of 3. Not in best of 1. Rampaging Frostodon and Nexus of Fate remain banned in best of 1. Which is kind of funny that we now have a 2-card different ban list. It's Nexus of Fate and Ferocidon. It's kind of hard for me to believe that Ferocidon's so bad it needed to be best of 1 banned. I could always justify Nexus, because Nexus is legit insane. Also, there's been a lot of news, actually. Heb, the Dreadhorde Champion. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you may discard any number of cards. If you do, draw that many cards and add that much red. Until end of turn, you don't lose mana. Well, let's put a big wall in the way. And, oh man, we have 1 of each temple already. So if we want to start... No, wait. We don't have this temple. And we don't need that breeding pool. But yeah, so there's been a lot of news. A lot more about Historic coming in November. You can check it out by looking on Reddit or the official Wizards channels, things like that. But we're going to block with both in case the opponent has a pump spell here for Neheb. But yeah, a lot of news about Historic and how they're going to introduce cards to Historic. It's all kind of weird to me, if I'm being honest with you. All right. Opponent's going hard. They've got some evil plan with Neheb. Neheb. Go ahead and correct me in comments. Tell me how I'm supposed to say it. So, We're about to have a Yarok on the battlefield. We're about to have a Field of Dead. What do I need? I think a Thought Erasure Well, I can't play the Thought Erasure this turn anyway. I was going to say Thought Erasure taking their best thing could be nice. Why don't I instead grab an Assassin's Trophy? Just so that whatever it is they do with this, we have an answer to a permanent. But yeah, Historics get in a lot of uproar because they're saying that you are only going to be able to use, to get Historic legal cards, like special cards that they've reprinted for Historic, by paying double the wild cards. Literally double the wild cards. That's their idea, is like if you want a rare that they've reprinted specifically for Historic that isn't standard legal, you have to pay 2 rare wild cards. It's pretty crazy. So check out the Reddit threads on that. Check out Twitter. Let Wizards know if that sounds like gross to you. Some people have said that it's trying to kill the format, and I'm not of the opinion that it's that bad, but I do understand where people are coming from who are complaining, and I encourage you, if you do not agree with that, let Wizards know. Alright, this Yarok lived after the opponent 2-for-1 away the last one, and there is a card that will get us a lot of triggers. That is a really good top deck, and the opponent's going to scoop it up. Kudos to them, though, trying a different take on red in the Mythic ranks. I'm not sure, it must be a Cavalier of Flame deck, because I see a lot of cards that are like discarding cards into the graveyard. We've got a Grazer, we've got a Reef. And from there, hopefully we have things like Jason, Cavalier of Thorns to keep the advantage rolling. Fanatical Firebrand. Oh boy. It's on, everybody. It's on. The best of hands running into Fanatical Firebrand. Ugh. You're just like, immediately, this is gonna suck. So would you like to attack? Alright. Let's get grazing. So we'll play the Guild Gate because we know that has to enter the battlefield tapped. We may have to pay life for this Overgrown Tomb to play a Trophy or Risen Reef next turn. That is not ideal against red, but I really want the Grazer out there, and I want the land that has to be tapped on the battlefield now. That's one of those red players. Do you think they're just multi-queued across multiple accounts and computers where they're just playing red on every account to see if one of their accounts will make top 1000 to qualify them for a future Mythic Championship qualifier tournament? Seems narrow, but never underestimate the tryhards. Interesting. Seems like a Lightning Strike is inbound. So do I pay the 2 life? I think I do. I think I need to keep things moving, especially if we reveal a land and can have a Cavalier of Thorns soon. We have to be really happy about that. I do think the Fanatical Firebrand will off this thing, or the Goblin Chain Whirler will get it, but I think we have to go for the potential of the ramp. What's gonna happen? The suspense. So many choices. Reef hits Legion's End. That's a good one against red. Better than an Assassin's Trophy, typically. If the opponent uses the Firebrand, I'm so happy about that, and they do. It means that I'm not getting Chain Whirled, which would be the max punish. Let's see if there's a Lightning Strike here for the Grazer. No. And no Lightning Strike for the face either. Shock the face. Light up the stage. I strongly encourage you, if you're going to make that play, to do it before you play your land. Alright, we know that there's a Runaway Steamkin coming. We have a Legion's End for that. So this turn is all about the Elvish Rejuvenation. Wow, that is unlikely, but it happened. Holy cow. That is really depressing. So 5 cards to the bottom. There was some Yaroks in there, and we need those against red. We also don't have the mana to cast our Jace, so we need to draw a land. Our deck runs a pretty insane amount of land, and there it is. So do we let the opponent have this for a turn, or do we just Legions end it? If the opponent had 2, they'd play 2. And they haven't played very many spells, but still, every time I've let this live, I've regretted it. So I'm going to take a turn off from this Cavalier of Thorns, as great as it sounds, to make the Steamkin leave, and look at this. Not 1, 2 experimental frenzies. Oh my god. But the opponent's going to slow roll them, and here's a Chain Whirler. This does give us a chance to draw Thought Erasure. Yes. So we have to fire this off to get one of the frenzies. The opponent plays the other frenzy, then we trophy the other one. Another Cav is nice. Yeah, those big bodies can help. If the opponent doesn't play the frenzy this turn, we'll call it fortunate. If they do, I think we have to trophy it. And then that means we have to wait another turn to deploy the Cavalier of Thorns, which means we'll probably take a hit from the Chain Whirler. Alright, please don't... Okay, hit a land. So I think there's either a land or another Goblin Chain Whirler on top. There could be a light up the stage on top, so let's take this block and not let the opponent get further. Then we blow you up. And now it's the top of your deck versus mine, but I've got these Cavs. I've got to take this hit from the Chain Whirler. Hopefully it's not too bad. But man, whiffing off that Rejuvenator, it's leaving a mark, because if we had one more land, we could play the Cavalier, hope to hit another land, and use that to cast the trophy, because the land from Cavalier can enter the battlefield untapped. It would be a risky play, but it would be a very strong play if it worked out. Oh my god. You've got to be kidding me right now. Well, we weren't meant to succeed here today, my friends. The game definitely decided to stick it to us hard in this game. We can play as well as we wanted to. It did not matter. 3 frenzies. Good game. All right, let's grab this for the life and the fact that we need to start making zombies as early as possible here. The opponent could just whiff. It's really hard to do when you have 8 lands in a frenzy. It could also kill my Cav. All right, definitely block in here. Can't let the endless Steamkin shenanigans happen. And that's game. No need to let this... No need to watch this player figure out how to point a lightning strike. We'll try it. We have a lot of green mana in the deck, and if we draw one, we're in good shape, and we have a Legion's End to stall for it. Luck hasn't been on our side yet, but you can't play as if you'll never be lucky again, or else you shouldn't play Magic. I think I'll play you. I'm not as worried about Legions ending this right away. Okay, good. If the opponent has Runaway Steamkin, that's what I need to Legion's End. Otherwise, I want to wait and see what the opponent draws multiples of. They run a lot of 4-ofs in this style of red deck. Get the green source out. So we can play the Reef. Let's play the Rejuvenator. If something's going to eat a removal spell, let's make it the Rejuvenator. And now, do we get a 3rd green to make sure that we can play our Cavalier on time? I think that we do. This Field of the Dead can wait. So if we play our Cavalier, we go to 6. Then we have like double Reefs and another Rejuvenator. I guess we want to find Fields of the Dead, so I'll keep you. We now have 2 Temples of Mystery, so we have to get to 8 lands with Field of the Dead when that starts happening. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But You've got reach. Reach is good. We'll take the Thornwood Falls, gain a life. Haha. May as well concede, I have gained life. You'll never deal me 21 damage. And there's another Cavalier to get back if our Cavalier should die in a battle with an elemental Spitfire. Okay. Do you think the opponent remembers the reach? Let's find out. Maybe they have a combat trick. Maybe they have a way to... A Sure Strike would give a Spitfire first strike. Ooh. Ooh, that... Alright. The Exile is nice there. I don't get back another creature. Let's get the Field of the Dead onto the battlefield. Let's go ahead and see what happens with this Risen Reef. Cameo. Okay. Opponent with no responses yet. Let's go for double Reef triggers. While they're alive. No land. Thought for sure I'd get some zombies out of that deal eventually, but 3 straight spells on the top. And here are the Scorchers. Gross. But just 3 damage. Could be a lot worse. No blocks. Let's keep our Reef guys around. There's a Rejuvenator. Let's get into this hand and see what you're working with. Oh my. Well, we saw what Frenzy can do in the last game, so that has to be taken. The Chandras and the Scorchers are very painful. Legion's End, though, can take out all the elemental tokens from another Scorcher. Do we want this land on top of our library? I don't think so. So let's play a Rejuvenator, try to find another Field of the Dead or another land of some kind. Blast Zone. Blast Zone can take out a lot of little critters. And here's a zombie. So now let's Thought Erasure one of the Chandras, I suppose. And there's the Jace. Jace can go to the graveyard here. We don't need him. Tamiyo can get you back if we end up needing you, but I don't think we need you against red to close the game. And here, do the Risen Reefs want to tango? They could. And I don't plan to block with them. I may as well get an attack in. Scorcher number 2 means that Legion's End can clean up the tokens. So we'll block these 2. Like so. Take 4. Another Thought Erasure is perfect. Get that Chandra. What's with people drawing triplicates on me today? Alright. Behold, all land. In all of its glory. Enter tapped. Make a zombie. Legion's End, your tokens. Alright, we want these to block for the Chandra tokens, so we can attack with the 1/1s, but leave back the zombies, and the opponent's going to scoop that up. This hand is decent. Let's keep it. Temple, Island, Thought Erasure, Shockland, maybe Rejuvenator. On the draw. So, I haven't cut a single thing from this video yet. 3 straight games. 3 straight mono-red decks. Different. Each a different take on mono-red, but literally no other colors of Magic so far today. Let's see if this double-winged cat uses any other magical colors. Is it a mountain? It's not. It is a godless shrine. Oh my goodness. A whole new world. I think we can bottom this comfortably and still find another green for the Cavalier with Rejuvenator in hand. Especially since we already have an Overgrown Tomb, we don't want to delay our zombies too much. Sure. We have Field of Ruin in the deck. Now let's take away your Teferi. Oh, not a Teferi. So, Legion's End is reasonably strong. Oath of Kaya is incredibly annoying, but it doesn't go to the graveyard, which is one of the nice things about it. It doesn't help the Azcanta flip. The Kaya's Wrath might be better than both because I have Cavalier of Thorns and Elvish Rejuvenator, whereas Legion's End is only good against the zombies, so we'll grab the Kaya's Wrath here. And I think keeping more Rejuvenators is right where I want to be. Rejuvenators finding lots of Field of Dead and our lands that do various jobs and making sure that we ramp up is pretty much the ideal place. Pay 2 life. Rejuvenate! Another Temple of Milady. And we're putting the Jace on the bottom of the library, which could be relevant. I do not need a Legion's End. I'm very happy to scry that away. Opponent kept that card, and it is a Narset. Narset is annoying, but this deck in particular doesn't run Hydroid Crisis and doesn't try to draw a bunch of cards. So Narset's not as dangerous as Narset appears. Teferi. Yuck. So, 5 mana can play a Cavalier of Thorns. Opponent doesn't seem to have an answer for it right now. So by all means. Let's also send Rejuvenator in. Do we want to tag the Narset? Like I said, I don't really care if Narset's on the battlefield. And if Narset minuses and goes to the graveyard, it helps fuel the Azcanta. So I actually think the attack is the face. Let's go, big dude. All right, we've got a Temple of Mystery, Hinterland, Harbor, and Thornwood Falls. I think the Mystery Temple is good, but we already have one in hand, which kind of makes it awkward for Field of the Dead. So I'm going to go with the Falls. We want to start field zombieing soon. We needs thems. Time Raveler. You wish to bounce the Cavalier of Thorns? I suppose you need to draw a land pretty badly over here, Esper Mage, so I do expect to see this draw a card. The question is, do you want to bounce this card? Which certainly helps my deck function. Well, you found a land, so maybe you don't need to. Oath of Kaya. The target, the Elvish Rejuvenator. Thought Erasure off the top. That can go after one of the Teferis. Bum bum. Alright, we can probably make some zombies this turn. If we get out Field of Dead and use Rejuvenator. We should use the Rejuvenator first, I believe, because we might find a second Field of the Dead, and then Temple of Mystery could activate it. And then the last thing we want to do is Thought Erase in case the card on top is a card that we want. We'll attack something in there somewhere. Alright, Breeding Pool. Enter tapped. Field of the Dead. Make a zombie. Thought Erasure. I'm sort of not I'm not very afraid of the Tiff. What is it weird that I'm not afraid of the Hero of Dominaria, but I am afraid of the Time Raveler? I think the opponent getting an extra card off that could be a big deal. I really think this is the grab. Because I think that Teferi against my board isn't particularly strong. It will come down and either draw a card or tuck the Cav and die. And I think that because of that, plus the opponent has to find an untapped land. I think that because of that, we take the Time Raveler. Liliana to the bin. Bye, girl. Grr. Anger. And yeah, bouncing that zombie. Yep. Another Cav of Thorns, though. It's a big damage dealer in this deck. So we want to save the scry for after. So we want to do this, then this. And I will take out the Time Raveler. Let's not have instant speed Kaya's Wrath against us. What are we at now? 4 cards. Working on flipping that as Kanta. Also, having Cast Down up in case the opponent tries to exile a Cab of Thorns can be a big deal. Opponent is not a fan of the second Cavalier of Thorns. And there is a Field of Ruin, which I'll take that. It's a good solution to the Azcanta, if it comes to that. It also makes instant speed zombies, which could matter. What's down here that we can get? Oh, nice top deck. We can get another Cavalier of Thorns. There's also a Thought Erasure. Cavalier of Thorns can get the Field of Dead, which is fine. Opponent getting pretty lucky on that one. So let's put a Cavalier of Thorns back on top of the library, but not use the other one. So which one are you targeting? This is the first one. It targets the Thought Erasure, decline. And this one, take action. Get that Field of Ruin. Make a zombie, pass the turn. Try to keep that pressure on. If the opponent tries to deal with the Cavalier of Thorns with like a Teferi Tuck or Exile effect, we can cast it down and draw another Cavalier of Thorns. Another Narset. Pretty happy to see that, to be honest.
I know 88 ways to defeat you. Pick one. With thoughtfulness before action.
H to the Izzo. Or maybe it's N to the Izzo. Set to the Sizza. I can't. Alright, anyway, our opponent found a D-Spark. We could make that zombie now, but I'm still very much wanting to kill Yazkanta when the time comes. There's another land. Your face. It's gonna be close. Zombie, zombie. Our opponent has the mana for both Legion's End and D-Spark here. That's pretty awkward. And the Azcanta flips. So we definitely... Okay. That's really frustrating because now the opponent can D-Spark the Cavalier of Thorns. But then they can't use the Legion's End. So bad. That's so rude.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
So they're setting up for an instant speed Legion's End, possibly? Looks like it. We definitely want this to go, but we want to force the Legion's End action first, right? Right. So we don't have to do it now. Something gonna die. I just hope they use the Legion's End, but I don't think they will. There's the D-Spark, yep. Alright, may as well play the land. Down to 3, pass the turn. But I think we're gonna lose now. I think that Teferi was the perfect draw, and it's the third one of the match. Well, our opponent whiffed. They're just toying with me now, trying to give me a chance. Here we go again.
I have a plan.
Uh-huh.
This isn't a fight.
So there's a chance if my opponent doesn't have a basic that I could catch them here by blowing up the land they target with Teferi. No, now that doesn't work. And they have 2 black, so yep, doesn't make sense to use it there. This was a heartbreaker. A real heartbreaker. Without that Teferi, just shutting down all rules of Magic. I think it goes differently. God, I hate that card. I think everybody does. Does anybody like Teferi? Alright, we gotta blow this up now before the opponent gets to use it again. Or actually, they haven't activated the Ascanti yet, so getting rid of it here at least shuts that down. Also shuffles the deck. Without Hydroid Krasis, we're just way behind. We had it all lined up. Oh well. This is one of those tough ones where I want to concede to save your time. I'm not 100% sure I'm out of the game, but I'm pretty sure I am. And yeah, the opponent shows me a different win condition, so just having an attacker for Teferi every turn won't be good enough. I'm going to concede. I understand if you don't like that particularly, that's giving up early, but I don't want to make an hour-long video of one game where I'm behind the whole game, where I'm very, very unlikely to win. This is tough, because if we draw a black source, it's a pretty good hand. But I think I have to mulligan it, and I'll keep this one. What can go? I think the Simic Guildgate can go. We don't have the turn 1 Grazer. It's the turn 2 Grazer, which could mean that we miss a land drop later. But I think I'd rather prefer to have the 0-3. A lot of aggression in this meta. A lot of aggression in best of 1. Land on top to make sure that we hit with our Grazer seems smart. I know we have another land. When I say hit with my Grazer, I want to ramp a turn and then have a land to play the next turn. Because if you miss any land drop within a few turns after playing your Grazer, it's kind of a waste. And now I'm really happy to have you on the team. Gutter Bones? We can block Gutter Bones. Double black. Let's see what kind of power our opponent is bringing. Rotting Regisaur is a very large creature. Might have to bump into it with a Rejuvenator and a Cavalier of Thorns to keep that big boy down. Wow, can I just run out this Jace? I can. It's a very early Jace. I think the advantage we can gain off this is worth it. Excellent. I'd usually rejuvenate there, but the idea that we can get this Jace down and probably draw 2 or 3 cards off it, as well as draw the opponent's attacks, I think makes it a really good play. Let's see how the opponent wants to do it. If they attack, I'll block the Gutter Bones. If they want to spend their turn pumping the Knight of the Ebon Legion, okay. Let's see if they pump. It would grow the Knight, and it would get a nice juicy 4 points in. But they are choosing to ignore the Jace. They're basically saying you can draw 2 cards for a while. Maybe they have a way to directly target it with a Bedevil. Something of that type. No, it's a spawn. Spawn of Mayhem. Alright, let's see what we get. Okay, land for turn. Let's get Cavalier of Thorns down. Has reach. Wants to tango with the Spawn of Mayhem. And if we hit an untapped green, we could play a Grazer, but we don't have a land to ramp with. So I think I'm better off taking the field. And no attacks. Spectacle triggered. That Spawn gets a damage in every upkeep to both players. If this player has less than 10 life, the Spawn gets bigger. It becomes a 5/5, then a 6/6, and so forth. But we're quite a ways from that right now. But yeah, the defense is... this life total right here is defended, dear Rakdos player. You'll have to find a way through. You want to attack the Jace. Well, I'll block with the Grazer. If you want to pump it, that's your whole turn. Maybe they did not consider this move. Maybe they hoped I'd block with the Cavalier of Thorns. But the ability of the Knight of the Ebon Legion does grant Death Touch. So I could lose my Cav there, get back a Yarok or another Cav, which is nice. Ooh, a late Legion's End. But I guess then the opponent couldn't try the attack anyway, so it's not late. Thornwood Falls can make a zombie. Let's start with our Jace ability. Opponent showing that they have a Lightning Strike, Shock, something of that nature here by the hesitation. Let's see if we can rejuvenate into another field. No, that wouldn't gain a zombie. We'd rather have the field after we have our 7th unique land. Zombie time. It's in your head. In your head, zombie. 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 Do 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 dicka do 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 but the boom 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 dicka do 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 dicka boom boom dicka do 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 dicka do 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 dicka do 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 do. We'll say go. We'll hold this trophy for the perfect time. Do 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 do. You spent the whole turn. Have you chosen a target? It's a shock. Trying to keep the Jace from ultimating. It's a tough place to be with that shock. I do understand. And there's the scoops. These choices have become too painful to make, and the opponent will make them against a different enemy. Alright, let's go back and talk about the deck a little bit. There's a few things I would love to get into the Yarok deck in some way. One card is Agent of Treachery. This card is amazing, especially in decks that are going to have large amounts of mana. It's great in the mirror. It's great against Esper. I think it's a little better here than Mass Manipulation because you can get it back with Cavalier of Thorns and Tamiyo. Although I guess you can get Mass Manipulation back too. So that's another one you could try. Do you want Mass Manipulation or do you want Agent of Treachery? I'd like to fit exactly one of these into the deck somewhere. And I think the deck should have some amount of Hydroid Krasis. I can see why the deck doesn't have 4 Hydroid Krasis. It's a little bit clunky, and at this point in the meta, players have adapted to it. It's weak against Narset. Legion's End is pretty useful against it, and you don't want to spend your whole turn drawing more cards when you're already on a bit of a value train. But I think that 2 are warranted, and I would probably slot them in somewhere. You could replace an Assassin's Trophy and a Cast Down, for example, but I really like the early removal. Thought Erasure was good. It's weird to say this, but it might be an underperformer here. Jace was fine. I definitely can see replacing a Jace, though, for a Hydroid Krasis and either a Mass Manipulation or an Agent of Treachery, finding some room for those in here somewhere. I hope that you enjoyed this video with Yarok Zombies. Let's take a moment to thank sponsors, CoolStuffInc.com. Promo code CGB5 for 5% off your order. And please give them a try. They're supporting the channel in a big way and making it possible for me to be here every day for you. So thank you very much to CoolStuffInc.com. Also, you might want to notice we are ending our little mastery run here on the best possible level. So there's that. Can I get some noise in the chat? Thank you very much. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.